Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John with Flippin' Ain't Easy. Thank you so much for being here with us today. As you can see, Jenna's not here with us. She is, about 1,500 miles away in Texas. I think that's how far it is. And she's out having a good time with Tyler, her son, and just family and friends and just doing her thing. So she'll be back on Friday's show. She'll miss Monday's show as well, so you guys have to put up with me doing this solo. So I will try to be the same guy that I am when she's here. But here's the good news. I have a guest, actually two guests from the Primo Kimo channel. And we have Primo Kimo, and we also have Spam Banshee. They're with us today, and we're just going to have a little bit of fun talking reselling. And so I'm going to bring them on now. How are you guys doing?
Aloha.
Great. Aloha.
Thanks for the invite. Love being here.
Being here. You know, I like to support the smaller channels. I do watch your channel from time to time. You happen to have your lives kind of going in the middle of the day, for me at least. I guess for the end of the day, it's kind of winding down for you, but it's in the heart of when I'm working on eBay. So I really can't sit down and get as involved as I usually like to be. But, you know, you do talk about a lot of issues and things that pertain to the average eBay seller. And I do like that. Now, why don't you tell us or tell the audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you're about, and all that?
Well, I mean, it's a long and sordid story, but the simple thing is
hour. We usually go about an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe shorter today. So we got a lot of time.
So 1969, imagine yourself in California. No, so I came from California originally to Vermont in '93. That's when my interest in old things, it was kindled in California. I've been a collector since I was young. My uncle took me to garage sales and showed me old antiques that were worth a lot of money. He's like, this is $100. It's 25 cents. He taught me that value. And when I moved here in '93, I had gone through a couple of tech companies. I worked for, this is not a claim to fame at all, but I did work for Quicken when I was on University Avenue in Palo Alto. Basically, at that time, late 80s, maybe earliest 90s, maybe 90. Tech companies were data entry. Anything you were going to do with these tech companies was data entry. That was not fun. So I was kind of doing raves, and in San Francisco, I was maybe having too much fun. And I thought to myself, I need to just make a break from this whole thing here. Moved to Vermont, met her in like 2 weeks. I'm like, you're with me. Let's go. And then we sort of, I started along 99. I started on eBay selling stuff. And that was because I was finding the IBM plant here in Vermont was redesigning their interiors and stuff. They were throwing in the garbage their 1960s and 70s Knoll and Herman Miller furniture. They were just throwing it in the garbage.
Really?
Yeah. So we were dumpster diving there at the very beginning. Then they got an office furniture place to come in and start buying their stuff. And we started buying their stuff for like $5. These things went for thousands of dollars. So we started in a really great way in reselling on eBay. And then other things happened. Had a restaurant. Then I had a store. Didn't sell on eBay. And then now do full time since 1992. What year is it?
1800.
1899.
Together.
Yeah, it's since 2019. I started full time reselling again to frack my giant pile hoard.
So the same time we went full time.
Okay, nice.
Well, she didn't go full time until pandemic.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that forced a lot of people to go full time.
Yes.
So wanted to, and I usually touch on this at the beginning, so I apologize if you guys tuned in to get the topic or what I was putting in the title. I do apologize that I didn't talk about that first.
Yes, please let me know what that means.
Well, here's the thing. eBay, and a lot of people don't maybe care or don't know, but I'll at least start us off with this for those who actually do want to know, and that is eBay has made some improvements. And that's good. Whenever eBay makes improvements, I think it's important to give them their flowers, because myself and other people are very quick sometimes to poo-poo eBay whenever they do something that's not an improvement that makes our lives more difficult, which has been very far too frequent lately. But they are changing the authentication process. Now, it doesn't say that it's specific to shoes, baseball cards, or anything like that. I would assume that it's across the board. And there's 2 steps now involved in authentication. They instead of lumping it all together, where you like, for instance, I sent in my shoes. I had a pair of Jordans that I sent in, and they came back with no reason. They just failed. And it wasn't that they weren't authentic. It was that there was something that was not, in their eyes, right with it, and or that they could compare to what was in the listing. I don't know, and they don't elaborate. So now what they do is they authenticate it as the first step, and the second step is they make sure that the listing is accurate, so that if I you send a pair of shoes and maybe there's a different pair of laces, or the laces aren't on the shoe, or you have a blemish that you didn't mention, they'll basically now reach out to the buyer and say, do you want this with this problem that we've noticed, or we'll send it back and cancel the transaction. So at least they're doing that. Now, is the buyer going to communicate with eBay or anyone else? Who knows? But at least it gives the buyer an option, rather than just rubber stamping it and sending it back to the seller, that type of thing. So
yeah, we've never used that. We haven't used it. I did read that the note about that, and I saw sort of like that, like the app will be improved so you can, so everyone sees what's happening at the same time or something.
Huh.
Yeah, they'll put a like if it's verified, it'll have a check mark. If it's there's an issue found, there'll be a exclamation point in red saying that there's a problem that they found, and they'll put notes in there as well. So at least,
well, if we're asking for communication from eBay, that's usually what we're asking for. This seems like that.
Yeah. How about applying that to the Vero process? Right?
Can you hear the applause from my team is applauding.
I don't know if the rest of the crowd can hear it, but we have quite a few people with us today. So that's just what I wanted to kind of say, to let people know.
One thing I noticed in that same announcement was that what struck me about that announcement, I should say, is that they seem to be saying we're doing this in more categories, like more categories are coming out, or where it said something about more categories, or it implied that more categories are going to be added.
Yeah, it just says we will continue ramping up to other categories and markets on the first half this year. So it just says we launched this process with handbags US in September 2023. So my assumption is that while you may not see it, if you're selling trading cards, if you're selling shoes, you may not see it right away, but they're going to expand it to those other featured categories. Remember, you and I, unless you're selling something that's in one of these featured categories, you and I are excluded from this process. We'll, our trinkets or whatever we sell are, at least for now, never going to be considered for.
I wonder, is that the future? Is like the end game to authenticate each item, like to send everything to eBay and have them hold it, or probably just for items that are worth it? There must be a value.
Yeah, there's a value, but I mean, that would be, can you imagine? There's so many different categories and items on the platform. How many different departments that there would have to be created to where you'd send this item in and they'd have to authenticate it?
I'm for sure they can't. I can't imagine them being able to ever do that.
And we know that they let go of how many employees in there?
They did get rid of most of the authentication team
in their Las Vegas location.
They've got new awesome robots now.
I didn't know about that. I didn't know they got rid of all the folks in the Las Vegas.
8 runners on the floor, and like one man. They only have one manager left or something. I can't. Something about
2 authenticators and one that was even above the authenticators. I can't remember what they labeled that person, but yeah, that was on e-commerce bites. I think I read that. But I don't know anything really much about the authentication process. So
I did see on the little app, it was saying like the bag, they were showing an example of a bag, and it was like the bag actually has little scratches on it, and there's an odor, like the actual little note.
So they're going to tell the buyer that
there's an odor.
There's a strange odor, but are you okay with it?
Yes, I know. It's like, but what is the odor? Is it chocolate or poo? I mean, there's a
Right.
difference. I need to know
Yeah,
the quality.
it smells like chocolate, but it looks like poo. Do you still want it?
Yeah, I mean, it's only $500 today. I need the handbag.
So is the authentication really only used once the item is sold? You don't do it beforehand before you list it to I guess I'm not.
No, what happens with authentication? What happens with authentication, if you sell it within one of the featured categories, and if you sell that item with a certain type of brand, certain model, and at a certain price point, and that's at least with shoes, I can tell you that. They designate it before you launch the listing that this is one that's authentication, and then they go in and they require you to send it to they provide the label, you send it into eBay, and then they process it. Now, I believe, and this is one of the things I was telling Primo, is that that's someone walking their dog, so that's good. I have an issue today, and hopefully they're gonna be able to help me out, get through it, so there's no dead air. But you guys know Jenna's not here. Normally, she answers the door.
Ding dong.
Yeah, that FedEx and USPS, they've decided to wait until the live happened before they come. So at some point, I'm gonna have to run and put the USPS stuff out with a note. So hopefully that resolves itself. But FedEx, I'm gonna have to run to the door when they come.
We've got some juggling pins and some fire.
Yeah. So I do apologize for that. Now, what kind of stuff do you sell? I do know that you mentioned that you have a couple different stores, correct?
Yeah. On our main store, Old School Artifacts, we sell mostly just vintage items that are collectible. So 45 music, good category. Video games. Basically, I would say 90% of the items on our main store fall into the eBay free listing. They give you, so if you get into a store, if you have a subscription to a store, you have 10,000 items you can list in the Premier store, $60 a month, and that comes with 50,000 items in certain categories. And most of our categories are those: books, music, video games, collectibles. So we focus on those things. And most of this stuff has been stuff that over my 20-year eBay career that has been, I bought furniture, arcade games, pinball machines, hundreds and hundreds of items.
Pallets of recycled
computers, vintage Apples. Mac and stuff from colleges and things, and estates. So a lot of the stuff was smalls, and the smalls we would just put into storage, built just piles and piles of smalls, and sell all the bigs, because it was easier, and we made a lot of money on the bigs. I never hear people call it the bigs, but people do call it the smalls. So so the smalls are now what we're just fracking the hoard of smalls and trying to get the most money out of each small item, and that includes taking things apart where necessary, fixing things when necessary. It's been taking about 2 weeks to put together a little a place where we can make some videos about this process, where we will start breaking down all these things, either building them up or breaking them down, either one, and adding those to these giant piles of 45 records we have that are from the 60s, Northern Soul. What's that?
There's some value in those.
There's value in those. And then like cassettes that we sell usually are heavy metal. If we're selling CDs, they're usually 80s, something, highly collectible stuff. I don't think we have too many things that you would say were bad selections. Like we don't sell, you can't really, it's hard to sell bad music. So we pretty much keep that first store pretty nice. AFX cards. We just added a bunch. Star Wars figures. Big.
So how do you determine? You have 2 stores. So
Yeah.
it's the ones that give you the free listings are in one store, and then the other ones you put in your secondary store. How do you differentiate the 2?
It's B inventory, B stock. So maybe it's a record, very good plus quality records go in the B store as opposed to excellent near mint. So we're separating on quality and then sometimes on the items themselves. Christmas ornaments, would go in the B inventory store because it's not, I don't know. There's not like a high-end Christmas ornaments. There's just good, solid, sell all year long Christmas ornaments. So we put those go in the B store.
So your questionable things go into the B store.
I mean, you could say that, but I mean, we put good stuff in there. It's just sometimes it's quality, sometimes it's the item itself.
Okay. And you notice that I would assume that the A store sells better than the B store.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, in our B store, we only opened that up over the past 2.5 years, right?
Yeah.
Where our A store we've had since --
Okay.
So we
I'm
just
also
started it.
a big revelation. I'm really beginning to think there's a difference between the stores as far as even some of the way it looks and the way it operates. But I'm starting to think that eBay actually has, I don't know if I don't want to say there. I don't know how to say this in any real way, but I think they may favor newer stores. Maybe newer because they treat each new store the same way. You start out with 100, you got to build yourself up to top rated seller and everything. I have this feeling like they give a benefit to new stores over old stores. I just feel that way, but that's.
You think that's because maybe, like, let's say a new store has pretty good sell-through rate from the jump, and then maybe they give them that benefit as compared to a store that has stuff that's been sitting around for weeks,
22
months,
years.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, and the longer you allow that store to get just to remain stale, the worse it is for the entire.
Well, I do nuclear reset, which if people don't know what that is, that's doing end and sell similar every single day, 2,000 items. So the only way it works on that main store is because I have the 10,000 that I pay for and the 50,000 that eBay gives me, and 30 days times 2,000 items, roughly 60,000.
And we're not currently cross-listing. So if we were cross-listing to other platforms, that would mess up that link to the other platforms.
Well, that would be if you did it within eBay itself, right? But if you did it within the cross-listing tool, and this is a perfect segue, because what do you think about a cross-listing tool that would allow you to schedule whenever that process happens? So I want this to happen every 4th day, every 29th day before the thing recycles itself.
Please. Yeah.
Would that
are you writing that right now? Are you in the background?
I'm very much involved in a project with the folks at TreeCat. This is not a TreeCat commercial. So I do really think that they're doing great stuff over there.
We checked
it out on your offer there, and we looked at it, and it seems like everything that's coming out right now, I have this okay, wait and see what's going to happen, but what they're doing there, and the lady on the little video, she was convincing me. It doesn't have Etsy, which is the first place we would go cross-listing.
They're planning on adding more, but it's more about getting what they have right. And I think anybody who's actually cross-posting should be focusing on not as many platforms as they can, but try to do as much right as you can with a few platforms. So start with eBay, get good with that, maybe branch out to Mercari, maybe branch out to Poshmark, get those, because those are the main sites, if we're being honest, the 3 real main sites that we talk about. And we're not really talking about Amazon because they're their own little animal. No. They got their own market share and stuff. So I think going forward, though, it's and this really, regardless of how you decide to do it, you can even do it manually. But I really think going forward, you really got to consider getting other platforms involved. I mean,
we are eBay. We're eBayers. We love the well, this year's been a little hard. They've tested our limits, but up until this last year, 2023, we were just eBay boosters. There was nothing. There was lots of annoyances throughout the growing pains throughout the years, but there was nothing as bad as this last year. And even up until very recently, basically the Christmas fourth quarter convinced us that cross listing is you have to.
It's evolving right now to where you really need to, because if eBay continues to lose buyers on the platform, they're not going to lose their habits of buying online. They're going to find the item somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So those people aren't buying on eBay anymore. Where are they going? And
well, the new buyers, she has friends that are our age, 50-ish, and literally they're like, eBay still exists. It seems so weird. How can people not know that? But they literally are like, we just, I don't know, they had a bad experience 10, 15 years ago. And that's all it takes for sometimes people just to be, okay, that's enough.
Well, we were even digging through some of our really old feedbacks, and we could see that a lot of the people were no longer active.
There's a lot of
eBay.
feedbacks that just are canceled. People are no longer deleted again.
To answer your question, though, the older folks that were like, eBay's still around, because eBay doesn't do a very good job of maintaining brand recognition, right?
They don't.
It's sort of like, how can you right now, 2024, how can you not push out your product? I mean, unless you're selling an eBay Motors, maybe.
Yeah, they got that.
Categories. But someone that is like, okay, I'm sitting on all this stuff. I guess eBay you have to sell these things to sell on eBay now. They may not even consider eBay, or they need that stuff. They can't, maybe they're going to go somewhere else because they, thought that maybe eBay's changed their business model.
Well, they don't go there for new products per se, as far as, everybody goes to Amazon. I mean, these people do that we're talking about. They go to Amazon. So, yeah.
I do have to say,
they got a Temu.
Yeah.
We do have a streaming subscription for, network television. And I would say every 20 minutes, I'm seeing an eBay ad for the authentication.
Authentication, yeah, they are.
Authentication only, though.
Yeah, they're featured categories. So that would be what? Trading cards, watches, tennis
shoes. Yeah, mostly shoes.
I feel like this ad is really focused more on fashion, sort of.
Yeah,
do you get that sense?
And
it
shoes,
seems like fashion. Yeah.
People like shoes. Tommy Bernard likes shoes, and people like shoes.
That's how he makes his
Tommy does well with
millions. He does.
I'm not sure if Tommy's with us, but I'm sure he could actually.
He's a shoe man.
But I've seen his store. He can. I can certainly second that. He does well on eBay with shoes, and he does well in general, because I think he follows a lot of the correct practices. He has a really good understanding, and I think that's the benefit of like shows like yours, like mine, and others, that people don't have time to go in and read and study up on policies and rules and what works and what doesn't. Maybe they're doing this part-time, and to really watch our programs and say, you know what, I'm going to try this. Maybe it's not going to work, but it's working for them this way. Let's see if it works for me. And I think there's a lot of misunderstandings sometimes, because sometimes, channels like yours will say, hey, do it one way because you have something totally different to sell versus mine. And I'm selling liquidation goods for the most part. And that's a totally different beast.
They've forced
your
us
door.
Is that your door?
I think it might be.
They're forcing us to be so sophisticated, and I don't think most of us signed up to be this kind of as sophisticated as they want us to be now, with all the data and promotions and metrics and everything. It's we just signed up to be a global garage sale. That's what we did. I mean, I can handle the metrics, but I don't want to necessarily.
Well, that's what most people are doing now. Oh, good. Here's the good thing about this. It's not my main postal carrier, but the notes seem to have worked, because I see her taking the packages to the van.
Nice.
Good.
Nice.
Okay.
Yay!
I've got to get a stream deck. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
But
you
one
should.
interruption averted. But I will at some point when the FedEx folks get here. I will have to go in, and usually, it's weird. It's almost like they're following each other many times. I knew she's gonna have to make a second trip. Many times, it's like 5 minutes after the first one, they pull right in. So really uncanny how that works. So I apologize for any interruptions we get from this live. I really don't like, being disruptive to you guys, but I'm appreciative that the folks do have an understanding. That's what we deal with. Okay, good. She's on her way out. So, all right. Well, I'm sure we have 150 people watching right now.
Got a lot of comments there.
A lot of comments. So I noticed that when you were live, and before we get to some comments here, a couple of things. When you were live last time, I think when did you go live? Was it earlier in the week?
Well, actually 1 hour ago, but before that, it was Wednesday.
Tiki show.
Yeah, we did a
Tiki
show.
Yeah, I was rushing around, so I didn't get a chance to tune in for that. But when I saw you earlier in the week go live, I did notice that you were way behind in the comments as well. And
I've never been able to keep. Recently, I have not been able to keep up with the comments. It would be a 4 or 5 hour show by the time
talker.
I want to answer everybody's question and
turn into Romans live at that point. Anybody
just keep
tunes in on Saturday nights on Anytime Pickers channel will tell you that can be a long live for sure. But
everybody deserves to be answered, but I can't.
So before we see who's with us today, what is fracking the horde? What's that about?
Well, that is the process of doing the smalls. So like it's just so I just didn't focus on that all these years of buying and selling, because so basically what I did was I bought large items. So I started with I've had several eBay businesses, I would say. And one of the first ones, like I said, was 1999. I started just dabbling. I wanted to buy some things. Star Wars cards was one of them. I wanted to sell some things that my mom gave away when I was a kid. So that started like at 99.
Violin.
Yeah. And then I went into arcade games where like it was just the perfect time where everyone was going out of business in Vermont, or they wanted to retire. The arcade games, jukebox guys.
Oh yeah.
And I just went around the state and bought everybody out. I ended up thousands. I mean, at least 1,000 games. Thousands a lot though. But pinball machines and arcade games and jukeboxes and everything. I had a 2,500 square foot warehouse that I had arcade games on their sides stacked up because I ran out of room. I had to do that. Anyway, that was like, I mean, I made a lot of money on eBay, like hundreds of thousands of dollars doing that. But of course, I had to buy these things from the people. So I didn't make quite that much, but I mean, I had a great business doing that. And then those kind of like the fracking the horde process or thought process would be sell all the games, sell the pinball machines, but then keep all the board sets, like just the electronics, the circuit boards.
Yeah.
And then those are worth hundreds of dollars, but they take up a lot less space. So I just went through this process, and with mid-century modern furniture, I sold all the teak furniture, but I kept all the objects and the glass and knickknacks and all the things, Catherine home bowls and all these trinkets, and also, not trinkets, but they're objects of art. And interestingly, when I was doing this, people, I called myself a furniture pimp essentially, because we were going around finding stuff. It was just a perfect time where these architects were like their second homes. They were retiring and selling them and cleaning them out. So Eames lounges and all this stuff. And like I told you, the IBM thing, we just kept all the smalls. So the fracking the horde is the process of selling the smalls.
There you go.
And we just never did it. And if we had, I think my whole life would be different if we had like our retail store where we had a whole bunch of high-end items. We were on a reality show and everything there, but we never we didn't sell on eBay at the same time. If we had done that, things would be different now.
Well,
We wouldn't have the stuff to sell, and the pandemic would have been way worse.
Part of it is now we're both working in this, so we do have 2 people now, and so we can frack those small items that take a lot more time or need repair. So with
but like an AFX car, like some of them don't have the car; they're just the bodies. Like so, I never took time. I never said that's worth my time. Now that's all I spend my time doing.
Oh boy! So you said reality show. What reality show, if I can ask?
What was it called? I forget. I did. So
it was a Vermont. It was on an episode. It wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was.
So we worked with these people on this reality show, and then they said, "Hey, you're so great. You know, let's do a reality show with you." And then they were Hollywood guys. So they were like making a lot of promises, and there was contracts. And then I wrote a script even for like just a TV show. We were working on like all these, it was crazy. And it ended up being like, I think I made like $1,800. And then all the creativity that we did was theirs now. So, so they just, I don't know. And so everything I try fails, but eBay is always there, so the reselling is always there to back up me doing all these crazy other attempts at things.
That's interesting. Well, let's see who we have now. I know that bearded picker, he has this live tonight, so he wanted to be the first one to be here to let us know, and he will rant until you mention.
He's ranting. Okay.
And intentionally, it took over 30 minutes to get to his comment. I saw that there. And then we have J-Ride Griffs.
J-Ride Griffs.
I think I think that they're confusing people. They're wondering if it is really J-Ride from the comments I'm seeing.
I don't think that's J-Ride with the Howdy Doody picture in there. That's
Jake. I know Jake. He comes to Vegas every so often, and
Jake's a go-getter.
I don't think he would have done that. So,
I don't think so. That doesn't seem.
Hold on. Let's see, real quick. I might have to go and answer the door. No, that's a special needs bus or something. Okay, that's not. We have a cul-de-sac. Are
you trying to shop for special meatballs?
Wow. Okay, Lexa's today. She said, "Would you like to shop for special meatballs?"
Meatballs.
Hey, your meatballs. She knew about your meatballs.
Something's not right. She's been listening too intently here. We have eBay Live with us. Thanks for being here. Third.
Hey.
Aloha.
We have Lissa says, let's see. Hello, beautiful Jenna and John. Sorry, exclamation key isn't working on the phone. Well, Jenna's not here, but I know she's watching. And
hi, Jenna.
Aloha, Jenna.
We keep getting interrupted, so I apologize. But no, we live in a cul-de-sac, and it seems like it's turning into a freeway with all these trucks that keep coming through here. Larry Todd's with us. Is it really Friday? Do you notice as a reseller? I mean, this is what I've noticed because I work all the time, and it really feels like the days sort of mesh right into one another, right?
Like I don't know what a weekend is. I mean, a weekday doesn't matter.
So what does your week look like? Do you like try to work Monday through Friday, take the weekends off? Do you take just time off? How does that work for you guys?
Well, for me personally, I get up at about 5 in the morning. I'm an early riser, and I do my nuclear reset. That takes me 20 minutes. So that's been my life for the past 3 or 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I package stuff, list stuff, and I'm kind of done by noonish, maybe. Is that when I finish? And then I just sit here and stare at the wall for the rest of the day. It's like, I think it's like I do my stuff in the morning, and then I try to do creative stuff, eBay stuff in the afternoon. And then, of course, I succumb to sleepiness pretty early in the day because I get up at 5. But we're done by 9 or 10. But I would say that most of our eBay stuff happens in the early part of the day.
Yeah, when I get up, I pull all the stuff that needs to be shipped.
When you get up, you're like, I'm gonna do the New York Times crossword, and then I want my bacon and eggs in bed, and then
No.
your feet massaged. Oh, that's not you.
I picked all the stuff that needs to be shipped. He packs it all. I get working on the piles of stuff that he has,
I pile
created for
stuff
me
up
to
for her
start
to picture
photographing.
and
Okay.
I clean the stuff because so much of our stuff we've had for so long, it like he mentioned, it needs either repairs or it needs to be cleaned. So I can't really do the repairs, but I'll clean the stuff, try to make it look as good as new as possible. I photograph it, but I'm really picky and I need to speed up that process because it takes me a long time to photograph stuff so that I'm happy with
they're the best
photos.
pictures, though. I mean, which is important.
And I know you use Photo Room and I do too.
Yes.
And that was a lifesaver for me. I was so overwhelmed when I first started doing this with him full time. I got so stressed out about the photos because I'm like, these just are not good enough. I found that app just going online, got a really good price, and I got locked into that price for $50 a year. And now it's over $100, I think, for the pro subscription.
Really?
Yeah.
That because I think I paid 60. I don't know when I started using this.
I got it in 2020. I
might have got grandfathered in on.
Yeah, I think it was grandfathered in because I was expecting to have to pay more with each yearly renewal, but nope. Apple just charges me my original subscription fee, so really happy about that. But that was a lifesaver and a game changer for me. It improved everything so much. I got really comfortable and in the groove of taking the photos, except I'm still really picky. And then I create all the drafts and I load up the photos. I create the drafts, select the categories, etc. And then he will go and sort of review everything. Yeah.
Add things.
Because he knows he's collected all this stuff. This is stuff that he has liked all his life from when he was a child.
It's shocking how much she doesn't know about stuff.
I don't.
Because I know everything about I remember where I got everything. Like it's odd when you're
so I'll put in
reseller.
Just the basics. I can look at the model number, the brand.
I'm really a collector, I would say, first though.
And then he can go and fine tune everything. So I just try to do the basic stuff that I can fill out. And
you know what I hate doing? Listing things on eBay. You know what I like doing on eBay? I really love shipping because I get rid of this thing that I've had for a long time and money cha-chings into my account. But she does, she really does the heavy lifting on those processes. And then I'm just coming in, I'm finding the stuff, lining it up, fixing it, ordering parts, and we do fix everything. So like a tape deck that has been, because everything doesn't have a cost, although, I can assign it a cost because I paid for it at some point, but the pain of that purchase is gone. The pain of the storage units that we had $35,000 in storage units, those are 15 years ago. So I don't even remember the pain from those. So we just pretend like it's free money. And that helps a lot too. You can do that.
Mentally, right?
Yes.
But real quick, going back to Photo Room, have you noticed the AI feature where you can it'll actually figure out what that photo is, and it'll give you the option of creating a background just for that, and you can go in and type in whatever you want the background to be. Have you tried that?
I have, but I don't use on eBay. I like
use it for the dog.
I
like put the dog like in space.
Good, but I think that sometimes though, just having that catchy background does.
Okay, and I agree with you actually because we have these vintage Thanksgiving candles that we just bought this year from
awesome.
eBay. He got so many. And then he decided, I don't want all of these. So I did actually on our B store, on our junk drawer empire, I did put a photo, but not the main photo. But I think the second photo, I used those AI generated backgrounds for those Thanksgiving themed candles.
You also do it for art. Like if we have a big picture, she'll put one of the pictures. It like you can use, there's AI that will put it on behind a couch on a wall and you put in the measurements of it.
But that wasn't Photo Room, but I haven't tried it.
Yeah. I don't know what app that is, but here's the thing. And I don't know what your thought is on this, but just from what I've heard from other people and what I've seen myself, it's almost like eBay isn't pushing as many items over to Google as before. And so the concern was,
It's
okay,
different.
Google wants the white background, so let's play nice with Google. So when eBay pushes it over, then it won't reject my listings, right? But I'm finding that you have a lot of listings showing up in Google Shopping from other platforms and not eBay.
Yeah.
Not so much eBay. A lot of people are saying, hey, it only seems to come up with an eBay suggestion when I'm doing Google Lens, right?
Yeah.
But your buyer isn't using Google Lens usually, unless this broke. I'm trying to find the exact replacement. Let's see if I can find it somewhere. But they're using Google search. And if eBay is not pushing our items as much as they were before, I'm rather concerned by that. But since they're not, I'm not as worried if I use a different background than white, because I've just noticed that. And like, for instance, I sold a pair of brand new with tags, football padding, right?
Yeah.
And Riddell's the brand. I put it with I had it create a football field grass background, like it was sitting on grass at a football field.
That can't hurt your.
But I sold it like that. I sold the Ford helmet. I don't know if you guys remember the Ford helmet.
Yeah.
Sold the Ford helmet and had it like it created it was in the stadium on the grass, and like somehow the stadium was on fire in the background. I didn't notice that, but AI is really weird. When it creates things, it's like it had the stands on fire.
Everything is dystopian in AI, so it has to put some little dystopian thing in there.
And John, I actually follow the Photo Room Facebook page, and it is so funny. Some of the pictures that people post and say, "What the heck is this?" And it's like people with melting faces. I didn't ask for a person in my AI photo. What is this?
Yes, or like 6 fingers. It's like, wait, how do they get all those fingers? Or
I do the fingers.
I was doing this is on Midjourney, but same type of concept, doing thumbnails, and it had like guys that are standing there, and like there's a magical arm that was around one of them. And it's like, where did that arm come from? It's just AI is still in
that's Big Brother. See, it's always some dystopian piece. Just that there's an arm in there.
But Photo Room is great. You don't have to use the AI, but it is a great tool and you can play around with it. But I'm weird and I like just the crisp, simple.
Well, I did it.
White.
So for me, it's best practice with the white background from when I was selling furniture. I sold on Vintage and Modern, which became, I think it was absorbed into One Kings Lane and then something else. I don't know. But Vintage V&M and then First Dibs. And both of those sites require white backgrounds. So we just do white backgrounds now because I consider that best practice. Now
I think it still is. Like for instance, let's say you don't really have a dedicated photo area, right? I do. I'm sure you do. I have a couple different places, but sometimes it's not sufficient. And the lighting's good. Maybe the space isn't great. The item's hanging over the table, whatever. And so I'll take the photo and I will then use Photo Room to generate its own like desk or area that the item's on, that I don't have like a cement ledge or anything, but it'll put my item on there and it looks pretty sharp. Yeah. It's pretty cool how you can do that. So for those of you out there who maybe that's one of the things you struggle with your photos, there's no excuse to have a picture of your item on your bed. It used to
or
be
on the carpet, or with like holding it in your hand on your lap,
right?
Or squatting in front of a mirror. By the way, just don't ever squat in front of a mirror to take a picture. People love to do that for some reason.
I think eBay's the wrong site for that.
It's Craigslist. That's true.
So let's see who else we have here, because I'm way behind.
I know. I see people are sort of calling us out.
Bearded Picker says that you and I take up all the oxygen.
40 minutes in and on the
and
seventh
spam
comment.
can't breathe anymore.
And thank you for the super chat. What's up, J&J and crew? Sales
nice.
Good. Snowing in Kentucky.
Whoa.
Yeah. How's the weather out there? Is it?
We have snow. We're snowing. Currently snowing, I believe.
Love to have snow. Here's Larry Todd. Can you take down my comment now 25 minutes later?
That's so great.
Sorry, guys. I really am. We have Maya's with
It's
us. Thanks for
well.
being here. We have Daniel Lesage from Baton Rouge. Greetings from Baton Rouge. My number of sales have nearly doubled in the last 30 days. I know that he's been having some problems lately with sales. So,
well, click that like button to get your sale during the show, right?
Yeah.
You got to do that.
24 hours, you hit the like button, you're going to get a sale. And no one's explained to me how it's worked, so I'm just going to assume that it's a thing. We have Gail Carlson's with us. Hello, John and Jenna, and the great FA family doing taxes today. Yeah, that's fun. I'm a last minute kind of taxes kind of person. I will wait until
you got 2 more months, 2.5.
I wait until March. March is the month. March for me is March Madness when I start working on taxes and stuff. I'd like to just procrastinate. What about you? Do you just jump on it, get it done, or do you wait?
No, I think April 14th seems to be about the time when we start to think about doing taxes.
I've started preparing, but we're waiting.
We like all resellers need to have a professional tax person. We haven't had one because we've sort of just I don't feel like we've gotten, I don't know, we haven't gotten high enough on the food chain to really need one. But yeah, we do probably need one. So this year we are waiting. We're going to get a tax person, but it's probably too late already.
Yeah, I've done my taxes since forever, and even in corporate, because you're doing this part-time, you're still running a business on the side, so you're still doing the things. And
I can do taxes, and we do our own taxes. We do our own taxes, but we don't I don't feel like we do it right, and we're not an S corp. We're just an LLC, and we probably need to step it up if we're gonna actually stay in this game, which I think we're pretty much completely.
No, I'm a sole proprietor. I've been forever. So
you are okay.
So it's
there's really not a big. See, the only protection that you really need to worry about is something that the insurance agent sold me on 10 years ago. For that 1 year, and then I realized I didn't need that. But if you sell a lamp on eBay and it burns somebody's house down, this is something that doesn't happen. I've never heard of it happening. It certainly seems like something that could potentially happen, but that would be the only reason. Why am I talking about in chats?
LLC,
right? So to protect yourself from I don't think there's a lot of protection from
they
eBay.
Can't sue you as an individual.
Right.
They would sell the LLC.
But if you're selling locally or something, then it maybe it is something that's important.
Okay.
That protection.
We got Jackie's with us. We got Rhiannon. Happy Friday.
Aloha.
Thanks for being here. And Callie Deb says, hello, they're wonderful people.
Aloha, Callie Deb.
Because of family obligations, but I hope you're making some good sales. And wanted to say to Callie Debs, we're sorry for your loss. I know that you're having some issues with a passing family member, and I know how that feels. It sucks. It's hard to stay focused, and I'm sure that it kind of creates its own madness with family members and stuff. And so we're thinking of you. So
we sure are.
Andy just finished snowing in Indiana, and we have Patricia. Got snow there.
Patricia.
Let's see who else we got. Henri Squaw, thanks for being here. Samantha Hunter says, good evening, John. Feeling better? I'm so down. eBay hasn't given me any offers in a week. Bills are mounting. Well, to me, it was just I was in a funk, and it's just maybe I needed to talk about that. I mean, I talked about it on the Power Hour, talked about it on my channel, and I think sometimes you just talk about it, you get it out, right?
Yeah.
And then you wake up the next day and it's back to normal. So it just, to me right now, just not enough time in a day. That's just what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, and that's a good way to be, though. Really, if you can just press through it. I'm talking about these eBay difficulties these times.
Yeah,
it's just pressing through. I mean, it sounds cliche, but it's like nose to the grindstone in the bad times is the best way, I think.
Yeah, the sales are kind of all over the map. I mean, the last couple of days, but our other account, it's like we had a 5-day run where this is our secondary account. It hasn't ever been anything special, but we've been putting decent items on there. Had a 5-day run where it's like, wow, this is actually trending in the right direction. and then it's like someone flipped a switch. And then had 2 sales the other day, and it's just weird. My main account is doing pretty well, so I can't complain. I just kind of feel like at least this week I haven't really listed as much as I'd like to. I've been doing a lot more account maintenance stuff, and maybe eBay's starting to punish me a little bit, but I'm getting back on track. Let me put it that way.
Well, you shared your numbers this year, and so if you would look at your numbers last year, that's what we used to make until this last year, and eBay did half our sales. Now everything just got halved. So when we were chasing $500 days, and now we chase $250 days. So and it changed overnight. So, we don't need to talk about that. Everybody knows that. Most people are going through that. You've taken that, you've changed your items so that you've been able to adapt and regain some of that. But as far as keeping our same old items, those just stay at that half mark. We have to add in these new items to get up anywhere. So,
so have you ever considered maybe changing what you sell, or are you pretty focused on just the things that work for you?
Well, I think I am definitely I only like the stuff that I sell. So could I go sell other things? If I convince myself that I'm actually doing a business here, it's not going to be as much fun for me. Yeah. So I have to sort of keep to the items that I'm selling because I enjoy them. The problem is you have to frack the hoard. Everyone look behind you, look into that closet at that death pile you have. Look at I've heard lots of people say they have stacks of old video game consoles and like electronics and stuff that need something to make them work. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm going to do. So that's what I'm going to use my time for.
Or if you can't get it to work, parts of repair, right?
Parts of repair.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If in doubt, part it out. And those parting usually gets more money than,
right. I mean, you have a console with good controllers. The console's not working, but you can sell the controllers, that kind of thing. We have Joe Samard. Good afternoon, John and Primo.
Aloha, Joe.
Don't forget Spam. She's here with us. Let's see. Guide says people not wanting to go out in the snow like to buy things online. So where are they at? I'm waiting for some sales here. The last couple of days have been really just kind of weird. Beard says only 42 here tomorrow, but we've had 3 days in the mid 60s.
Wow.
And here's Josh Galt. He's have an excellent show. Great guest. We got Ping G.
Oh, Josh.
And
Ping G. Hey, that's you.
Oh yeah, I was saying hi to Josh.
Good know. Thanks for being here. Here's Ken, No One Design, hopped on the live and have to say I don't think that is Jenna. I might be wrong. No, Texas right now. In Texas. Let's see. Curious Collection. Hi guys. And actually I watched your video, Curious Collection, with the whole Vero craziness that they were dealing with or have been dealing with. And that's something I talked to Josh about on tomorrow's, not really your video, but that kind of thing. We went into a topic that really many don't do. And I'll just kind of allow you guys to tune into the video on the eBay Power Hour podcast. We have Kate Pickers with us. Thanks for being here. Kevin, he's in Lakeland, Florida. That hasn't changed, but thanks for being here. Simply Shenanigans. Hey, everyone. And then we have Big Dre says, I'm able to send offers on my phone again after a week of it not working, but now my sales are dead. Busy repairing kitchen floor. My computer just died. Appliance delivery this weekend. Yeah, it's hard to get through life in general, not just eBay, but life in general without having a working computer. I agree with that. Some new faces. Star Beauty Bargains is with us. And Josh Blackwell says, I cannot send offers on my phone. What's up with that?
Yeah, we're having that too. Yeah.
Have you noticed the app is different now? It looks a little different.
We don't have that new app yet. We have this. We just, in fact, I updated yesterday when Josh said he had a brand new one that looked crazy. We updated it. Mine looks the same, and you can't send out offers.
Right. And then Josh, and then a couple people in one of our videos in the comments said that you actually can still send offers from the new updated phone app, but it's a pain in the
Difficult?
butt.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you do
Yeah,
it.
and I don't know if that's just a glitchy thing.
Maybe
that
it's
will
one
be
at a time. Maybe
resolved,
only
or-
the multiple offer feature is not working.
Looks like Ken is saying here that you just have to hit the cancel on the upper right side by the sort filter area.
Oh, that sounds
Okay.
weird.
Interesting. I mean, that's a magical innovation.
That's what they do. That's what our big company does now.
We got Whiplash the Snake.
That's a great name.
I sold a pair of Nike sneakers through the authentication program. Got sent back to me because I made a small typo in the title.
Oh.
Everything was authentic. They said that themselves. So the good thing
Wow.
about that, and that's not FedEx, so we're good. The good thing about that is now they're going to be able to contact the buyer and say, okay, there is an issue with this item. Here's what it is. Do you still want the item?
So even for a small little detail like a typo in the title, they would have originally sent the item back to the seller and just
Yes.
canceled the item?
Yes, because it has to, everything has to line up exactly. So there's no any fear at all about someone claiming an INAD, right? Because there's no returns. Once eBay sends it off to the buyer is not able to open a return on it.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that. I wish we did have that for everything.
Richard says, proud to be the newest Primo Kimo subscriber. There you go.
Aloha, thank you very much.
That's awesome. We got Kelly says ZIFs. I have no idea what ZIFs means. You guys know what ZIFs means? ZIFS?
Zero insertion fees.
Okay.
Maybe.
Oh.
Zero. No, that's not right.
Zero fee insertion. Zero insertion fee psych. I don't know.
Yeah, psych.
Yeah.
Super psych.
That's his new commercial. Maya says, I'm okay. Saw you reply to my comment. Didn't have time to look at it last night. Photographing. Okay. I didn't. See, this is the problem.
We're like an hour behind now.
Yeah, and you start trying to rush, and you're jumping into sidebar conversations.
And you have no idea what the question is really referring to, or the answer.
Soda City! Hi!
Pimpin'. Hello, FA family, Primo, and Spam.
Aloha.
Jenna's with us, but she's in Texas.
Jenna!
Hi, Jenna.
Not here. She should be here, but she's there.
She should be here.
Let's see.
I bet it's not snowing in Texas.
We're not sure it's Jay Wright or not, so it could be his stunt double. But question for Kimo and Spam: which of you is in charge of grading records?
I'm way too picky.
It's horrible.
I'm way too
She's
picky.
just like, everything's bad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This one still is like, has black on the record. It's not, that's not that. But I'm just saying that I'm very good at grading. And grading is a difficult thing. You have to have an understanding of what bad is and what good is, so that you can grade something, because she grades like everything is worse than it is. Mm-hmm. And I don't grade everything better, but I push the limit. So
yeah, he says that whenever I grade something, he has to take it up at least one or two
notches.
1
or 2 grades. But
you give it a good, you'll give it a VG.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in our world, we don't sell goods. So comic books, though. Yeah, we do, I guess. But
I when we first started selling comic books, I did all the grading. I just went on and learned how to grade them.
And then literally today, I'm looking at
we
had an X-Men #2. We sold for $200, and now I can see if it was graded, they're worth $1,500 in like 3.5. And ours,
so we're going to buy it from you, and they're going to grade it.
Yeah, exactly.
This was maybe years ago now.
Oh, okay. So Nick Picker wants to know, wouldn't end and sell similar every day keep your item from reaching offsite Google ads?
Yeah, for sure. I think that what we're relying on is that first day hit from eBay's algorithm. So when we do a reset on every day on 2,000 items, that's the only thing that I think is getting me my 2 or 3 or 4 sales a day. Although we've been having 0 days since the beginning of the year, we've had 4 or 5 0 days, which are, I guess that's just the way it goes now.
Yeah. So, well, I'm starting to look at it as what are you prioritizing? You're prioritizing eBay exposure or offsite exposure, and we talk about the photos, right?
Yeah.
Google wants those white backgrounds. eBay doesn't care. While they prefer you to follow the white background logic so that it can be accepted. And sometimes Google accepts items that don't have the white background. But if you want to be, want to qualify for Google Shopping, you want to consider that. So are you prioritizing getting offsite exposure, or are you trying to prioritize how your item looks for the eBay buyer?
Still looking at it from the point of view of letting eBay drive our traffic. So we're using the nuclear reset as the traffic driver from eBay.
Right, because you get that new item, that new listing boost for 12 to 24 hours or whatever it is.
So we're getting it every 12 to 24 hours. That's it. And I don't think that that's the future. The nuclear reset's ridiculous. It's a killing a mosquito with a bazooka type thing. So, the future is probably finding the items that really need to be reset and things like that. But at this point, we're still just smashing it with a hammer. So when she goes to look for our items, she does find our items on Google still, but they're ones that we canceled 4 weeks ago. So
that's not helpful.
It's not helpful, although it still goes to eBay and shows the item, and then shows the gray bar at the top saying this item was canceled on this day. So you could enter that back into the search engine.
I do find, because when I just go perusing the internet, just shopping perusing, I would always go to Google and just type in something that I was looking for, look at the Google results, and then decide from those results which platforms I would go to check out the items I was looking for.
Googler.
Generic item, vintage Hawaiian dress. I always use that as the example. I do notice, although I'm not seeing as many eBay specific item results any longer, I do see, when I scroll down a little in Google, I see a generic eBay vintage Hawaiian, and I click on that and it brings me to eBay site, the category with all tons of vintage Hawaiian. So not just one specific vintage Hawaiian dress, but I can scroll through it and I see all of the listings.
In that list, if you're doing standard promotions, like where will you show up in that list? So if you head from Google to Hawaiian dresses, you click on that, then we're not promoting on Google or offsite ads. So then where is it going to show us in that list? I don't know. But if we're listing every day, we might be at the top.
And just when you start to think you figure it out, they make some changes, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have shown, because we show our numbers. The most interesting thing is not necessarily our numbers, not our sales numbers. It's the traffic numbers. And so because we've been doing it every day, we can show like 3 months, and you can literally see, the dark blue bar. Like if you're looking at your bar graph, that you see the offsite, and then on top of it is your organic, and then on top of that's promotion. And we don't have any promotion, that light green color, but we'll have the every day. The length of the line is always the same for organic, so it's pretty much the same all the way across the bar. The offsite ads has been shrinking every day a little bit more. So they're draining
gradually
draining us of our offsite
before they cut you out completely
visibility.
If you're not doing any offsite, paying for it.
And I will say that because we haven't been doing promoting for since October, I think, and doing the nuclear reset, we got an ad the other day, or a message the other day on our seller hub, asking us to reconsider trying standard ads again.
Interesting.
Like, we miss you. So they've definitely identified us as a person, as a store that does not do ads. And then can they target us and slow us down even more to try to convince us?
Interesting. I know that they will offer you, certain benefits, like we'll give you $100 to try this feature.
It's just for standard ads, though. This is not, there's no freebie in it. It's just like, we'll get you more exposure, pay us. Which, of course, it's probably true.
They're looking for ways to generate more revenue, and I think they're running out of ideas.
They are. I do think that. I agree with that.
I got Carrie Dane with us, and thanks for being here. We got Barter Mania. Thanks for being here. Boats. A lot of new faces, so that's kind of good.
Nice.
Let's see. No
Hello.
design.
Hello.
It looks like John forgot to change his shirt after you left for Texas. No, I dressed myself. Thank you.
Should have left him a post-it.
When she comes back, are you just going to be like sitting in a chair surrounded with like Taco Bell bags?
No, I cook.
You're a cooker. Okay.
So now I'm not going to cook for myself. I mean, I'll go and grab something because it's easier. But when she's here, I'll cook. Or
I'm the cooker. I'm the cooker here too. So I'm a happy cooker. Yes.
Okay.
I'm the happy driver. I'm the happy
cheese.
cooker. She does a mean grilled cheese.
So what are your? How do you feel about scammers? Do you get a lot of scams? We got Amazon reseller says return scams do happen. High rate of them in FBA movie sales. Some people love to use Amazon sellers as a new block. So,
that would be annoying.
Have you had any recent issues with buyers like that?
Us?
No, just back in June when the eBay Geddon happened, that month, which we thought was part of the eBay Geddon, we sold 3 electronic things that were returned. One item was legit. One item, the guy didn't know how to use a tape deck, and I'm pretty sure stuck a pliers. He broke it and sent it back, and we refunded him half. And then a third item came back, all within 2 weeks. So we kind of thought that affected us. But anyway, the third thing, the guy stole the circuit board out of an old CD player and sent it. Didn't work the same when we got it back, but I couldn't prove it. So now I went, oh no, I can't find it. I bought these. I have a black light here and the
UV pen.
Industrial UV
invisible
pen.
ink. So we're gonna start marking
the circuit boards and stuff. You open them up and you mark inside. So I'm gonna do that now. But other than that, those 3 things are the only scams we've ever that I can remember we've ever had.
Well, let's see.
Never gotten any used meatballs
or tires and all that stuff. Rad Relic says, I would love to have a couple of pinball machines for my shop. They are so expensive now.
Yes. And when I was selling them, I sold an Addams Family. It was the most expensive one I ever sold. And it was $4,000. But I sold like fun houses and Earthquake and stuff for like less than $2,000 They're now double that.
That was one of my favorite machines, Earthquake.
Earthshakers.
Earthshaker,
Earthshakers. Yeah. That is a good game. And in fact, it has California and Nevada. So when you hit the multi-ball, like California and Nevada splits apart and all the balls come down like it's...
Yeah, and then you're going crazy trying to hit all the balls.
I love that. That's a good one.
We'd actually, as kids, we'd go over to across the street to the 7-Eleven and we'd store our quarters in there and play it. It was pretty fun.
That's where I did it too.
Brett, Mad Hatter's Boutique says this week's been great in sales. Best week this year. Sold 48 items, up 77% in sales versus last week. Hats, shorts, shirts, jerseys, and a few more items. Yeah, that I know that he sells really good high-end stuff. So that is no surprise to me that he's doing well. Amazon seller says glass, china, and vintage home goods can be great sellers. Just takes a ton of time learning about the category.
Yeah.
It's the most fun category to work with because you can't learn it all. You're always learning, apparently. And I'm always trying to learn, right? I pick up. I'm an everything seller. You pretty much discuss that you sell certain types of items, but if you go to that estate sale or yard sale and you pick up or you come across something that you normally don't sell, but there's potential there, do you pick it up?
Of course.
Oh yeah. We went to an estate sale. So during the pandemic, we just haven't been buying, but we do go look, and then sometimes we get something happens. We went to an estate sale just around the corner from our house, and the lady's husband had passed away, and he was I guess a picker pretty much. So we left with like 5 leather jackets at $5 a piece, and they ended up being like the ones everybody wants. I can't remember the name, but and a bunch of other stuff that we never would have bought.
We bought some Disney stuff. We bought so much stuff, and it was really that opened the gate for us to try stuff that we never had because we were really sort of
very strict.
picky.
I'm very
we were
Tunnel
always
vision.
designer, furniture, this, that. And we decided to try this stuff that we got at the yard sale, and it did well for us.
We 5 times
And
our
then we were
money,
like,
for
what are we
sure.
doing? We need to start selling smalls.
Yeah.
That's what small does.
They're
yeah,
way
I think.
easier to ship.
Yeah. They're easier to sell. And I think a lot of people would like to. I was in that mindset where I didn't want to sell the larger things. I want to gravitate towards the smaller things. But I think a lot of people do that, and they leave the bigger stuff out there. And you know,
I can ship anything. So I've had all the experience you could ever want to ship the big things. I just don't want to do it now because I'm just old and fat and old. it's very hard to sell big, you know. This is a grind sometimes.
Oh, it is a grind. We got Guy Greer says, I've experimented with catchy backgrounds a year ago. I didn't see any increased results. White background for the win. Let's see. Oh, here's his comment. Bearded Picker says, good thing John and Primo aren't in the same room. So much talking, no oxygen left for the bench to breathe.
It's like we just created outer space. It's like, no one can hear you scream.
I'm fine with it.
That's awesome. Andy Sometis is give him a break. He has to do listing and have a conversation as well as ignore chat for 30 minutes.
30?
We're talking an hour now. Come on.
Let's see. I'm skipping some of Bearded Picker's nonsense. He must be drinking, I think, at this point.
I don't know. Funny.
Is he priming the pump for his show?
I believe he's having his show this evening. So hopefully I'll get to his confirmation of that here down below. We have Biff Boffo. I think the white backgrounds are really help AI decipher the object clearly.
That is what it is for. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
because if you go to use Google Lens to look up something, it's very different. Like if you're looking up, like I want to look up a chair, the backgrounds create what the images that are coming up, as opposed to if you had a white background and a chair in it, you would just probably find a chair very, very similar to that rather than looking for whatever's in the background of your photo. So that is true. That's why they want that.
Bearded Vicar, he's so funny.
Mary Knight says, I place items in my bed when providing measurements for clothing, but use a white blanket as a background. I just think that, having a tool like Photo Room, and this, they know it, they don't sponsor this channel, by the way, but I believe in talking about products that I use and I like to use.
It's the best one out there. I agree.
Yeah. Having something like that, it really gives you the ability to change things up and go from the white background, go for a background that's more tailored to the type of item that you're selling, like I described. And this could be them. Let's see. Yes, this is them. So
and if you just use that white blanket, then you can.
I'm going to give you the mic for a minute. Okay. Oh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Flippin' Ain't Easy.
Flippin' ain't easy.
It ain't easy. Yeah, so the with the white blanket, I mean, you only have to do the one picture. So like your main picture on eBay, if you chose to take out the white background. And if you take your pictures on a white blanket like that, you might find that that if you do use the background removal tool from Photo Room, people won't see the blanket. They'll just see the perfect picture. And then just on your first picture, then use the blanket for all your other pictures. You don't have
and
to.
one little thing I want to add to the Photo Room and the AI generated backgrounds is I do find it really helpful if you're trying to show the scale of an item. It helps with that. You can try to get a background that shows you that this 2-inch candle you're selling really isn't a foot tall.
There's a new one that puts a ruler on it. I don't know which one that is.
I know that Rockstar came out with a video about that app. I think it's anything that can help you deliver the information to a buyer as quickly as possible. So you're not messing with tape measures or rulers or whatever. I think that I would use an app like that if I sold more clothing.
Yes.
I don't sell a whole lot of clothing. Dixon, Street Treasures, it's your show. I enjoy listening to everything you have to say. Talk as long as you want. Well, I mean, it is a talk show, right? We're talking heads. We're talking, right?
That's what we do. I'm doing it 24 hours a day. It just happens to be a mic in front of me. I'm pretty much talking.
Hey, there's no one here, and I have no one to talk to. So I looked at least this week. And instead of talking Jenna's ear off, I have to wait to talk your guys' ear off. So Jeanette Randall says liability insurance is too cheap not to have. Do you remember the hoverboard fires?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'm sure I can probably do a handful of things better than I do. But I'm just, let's just test life. I'm sure at some point life's going to kick me in the butt for not doing something. The Thrifty Loon says, can I get 2 sales this time by hitting the like button? Well, I can only guarantee you one, but I've heard people have success with more than one.
I'll throw ours in. You can have ours since we're on the show.
Okay. Did you hit the like button though?
We did. We hit the like button.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
We both did, actually.
Larry, we haven't left the house since we dropped off yesterday's sales. I kind of worry, like some days I don't even go outside. I'm like in the house and I work, go to bed, cook, eat, go to bed, get up, same thing.
Now, being in Las Vegas, though, I mean, you have summers are like because we used to go to Palm Springs, and basically in the summer you're indoors all the time.
Yeah,
because it's so hot.
It's unbearably hot to even go in the garage.
Oh,
That's
really? Okay, yeah.
We have a photo booth in the garage, so right now to me it's comfortable to go out there in the garage, even though it's been cold lately. But when it gets hot, we have a little photo area in this other room, and I just take the stuff in there. Let's see. Marcy's with us. Says sales still down, but I did finally get my feedback removed.
Oh, good.
One feedback message to eBay for business and done. So
Good.
I guess go with the tool. Try to have your feedback removed through the feedback removal tool because no one will explain your situation better than you. But go through eBay for business if you cannot get that resolved. I think that is certainly a viable way because they do give those people, it seems, the authority to make decisions. We have Drummer and Bama, Jaybird Resell. What's up, Josh? What's up, everybody? Thanks for being here.
Aloha.
And I think I'm catching up to comments now. Beard was skipping, so he can't accuse me of that. I'll just click on his random comments. Nick Picker says, I haven't updated it either. It has done it all on its own. I think that's the app. And I noticed that some apps on the phone, you have to go in. You're continually running the old version until you go in and select update the app. But for whatever reason, eBay's different. You don't have to update it. But I do know that Josh Galt they told him to delete his app and reload it or reinstall it and reload it, and it fixed his problem that he was having. And
really?
That eBay rep, they acknowledged it to them that it was a problem. Now, when he called back, I don't know why he called back, but they when he mentioned it, they didn't know what he was talking about. So,
well, what's really interesting. I mean, this is the thing with eBay. So we did I did it like a video or a live maybe 3 weeks ago now, where I noticed my store numbers were off. Everyone else is like, store numbers have been off for months, but this is when I noticed it. That my store number was not matching how many items I was listing, and it was really far off, like hundreds and hundreds of items.
I've seen that too.
And I called into eBay, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there's a discrepancy here. We see 2 bugs. We issue 2 tickets." And the lady said, "We're going to have them reset your store. Please do not end and sell similar for 2 days."
Huh.
I didn't, and I don't, for how we kind of go back and forth. Can they reset your store? Who even knows what that means? What I think happened is they cleared the cache on it. Just a simple thing, because now my numbers are, for the most part, correct within a few, as opposed to off by hundreds.
Huh.
So it does seem to update more quickly. So when I end all my items, it goes down quickly, and when I put them back on, it goes up quickly. This is the total in my search bar on my store. So they don't really know what's happening or what's I
almost think that eBay, just the app or the platform, is not able to accept so many new listings that are ended and then sold similar. I think it's just too much activity like that, and it starts screwing things up.
I agree. And it was really bad, and then when they reset it, it seems to be much, much better. Still not perfect, and the amount of processing that takes for me to reset 2,000 items every day, that does take a computer power. And if everybody's doing that, I mean, every single day people are ending and selling similar items because they're not getting the exposure. That creates a lot of overhead for eBay. I'm just saying that.
Well, let's see. Fletcher Electronics says, "Do you know what's great about eBay?" Me either. There is some good, but nothing great. I'll give you one good thing, and one thing I can't complain about is that, at least for me, eBay's never missed a payment. When they say they're going to send me the money that I earned, it's there the next day in my bank, and I've never had to call them for a payment problem. Of course, I think the problem people are having is, how do I get the money to get the payment? But once you get the payment, it's just, it's going to be there the next day.
I do consider them a serious company. I mean, they are, but
yeah. I mean, I think sometimes we say a lot of things. I think there's a number, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but maybe people don't think I give eBay enough crap because of the stuff that they do to sellers. But I think they don't get enough credit for the things that they do correctly. I mean, can you imagine, not only are they not showing our items sometimes, or we're not getting the sales we think we should be getting, but can you imagine if you added the whole payment processing just being screwed up from day one, which a lot of people thought when managed payments was being launched, that, oh, okay, we're leaving PayPal. We don't know what we're going to get with eBay. Yeah. They're not a bank. They're going to screw it up. They've never been in this business to do this. And I don't hear problems with payments.
No,
we've never had one.
No, so, I mean, I appreciate eBay. Could they do better for us?
eBay is my favorite. I mean, it's done nothing but provided us a lifestyle that I never could have gotten I feel like I've had a great past 24 years, and a lot of it's been because I've had a good income from eBay.
Yeah. So this would be a great thing if we ever encountered this problem. Ferret Fan says, someone from the UK posted that there were no final value fees until April for sellers in the UK. That'll never happen in the US.
What?
I saw that. I was perusing the interwebs.
Can I have
saw that.
I'm moving to
They
England.
are doing that for the UK sellers.
Can that be that there's so few? I mean, they're maybe the losing sellers, maybe to entice sellers to get back on and start selling. What would possess them to do that?
I don't know. I mean, the Poshmark quit in the UK, right? So you would think that they would actually have more. I don't know.
Huh.
That's interesting. Maya says, I think they used to do that sometimes for new sellers in the US. My mom was telling me she got a deal like that, and I think I got one years ago.
Yes. Did you? I don't know if anybody saw my last video on. Can I say enshittification? Because that's the new term.
Go ahead.
Enshittification. And it's something that I've always thought about. It's the way platforms work on the internet, where at first they give you money to join up, and then they sort of keep you happy for a while, and then the third stage is where they start clawing back money from you, which is where we're at in the eBay and shittification. And this is just what has to happen to online platforms, because they have to grow, because they have to start from somewhere and grow their user base. Then once their user base is grown, then they have to encourage business customers so they can grow another step. And then they have to start taking all the money back somehow for their shareholders. Yep. And that seems to really be what's happening with us on eBay. And we're sort of hitting those pains. I really don't know what the next step is here. And that's why we were talking earlier about it. And the next phase is all about cross listing. I mean, that's just nothing else.
I really think you got to get your items in front of more people, no matter how you do it. I'm just going to tell you about what we use, and you can choose to do whatever you want to do. But it works. If you add 10 to 20% in sales between, for us, it's Poshmark, Mercari, and we get like a sale every month on Bonanza, which is took us 10 minutes to set up, and we've never had to look at it again. I think it's just doesn't make sense not to.
And this is you generally only have about 300 to 400 items.
Not even that.
Really?
Our other account, see, the way we do it, we have two accounts. So I cross list from our secondary account. So we have a lot of shoes and I really believe that Mercari, like the lower ASP type items, really do well over there because there's less competition. So we have those items over there on Mercari. We have Poshmark. We have the shoes that I continue to list. I must have, because I picked up a couple more big boxes, at least 200 pairs of shoes that I haven't even listed yet, and
Wow.
that gets listed on the other account. Talking returns, a lot of them are brand new. Some looks like they may have been worn once, and they said, "Yeah, I don't like them. Send them back." So you clean them up and you list them, and they tend to do well on Poshmark. And then what I do is on my main store, I do my own cross listing. I do cross listing to Amazon FBM, and I allow Bonanza to piggyback off of that account, and it works. It just works for me. So I'm not cross posting from my main store because I don't have any really shoes for Poshmark or clothes.
Right.
You can sell other things too, but that's kind of the focus for those type of items we push over to Poshmark. And I noticed that on the larger items, Mercari, their shipping, they charge a lot for shipping. They don't give discount. It doesn't seem like they give discounts on shipping. So on those larger items, people aren't buying those things from me. They want a deal, and I can hold out and get a good deal on eBay. So it's really tough. Every site, has different characteristics, for lack of a better term, than another. What type of items you list here won't do so well on this site. But I really think that if you have items on eBay and you're really struggling to get those items sold, maybe try Mercari. Poshmark, I think you can get a little bit more money sometimes for the same item on eBay. That's what I've noticed, at least.
Well, and we're not really clothing or footwear sellers, so I think for us it would probably be Etsy. I've heard that Etsy is actually a really good place to sell a lot of electronics, vintage electronics, and books, which we're doing a lot of both of those categories.
So many books.
And I've heard that Etsy, a lot of Etsy buyers are, they don't really haggle. They pay what you're asking.
The Patricia actually is the one who has been telling us to try Etsy even for electronics, that it actually is a good place for that. So we'll try. We'll report.
They're trying to advertise. I mean, they had a spot on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
Bobby Marshall, what lonesome John, holding the fort down on your own. My sales are kind of sucking, but I keep on trucking.
Well, give it a like. You get at least one sale.
And then we have Mike Camparelli, good friend of ours, says hi, John, in chat.
Hello, Mike.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Glad to see you. I think we missed you on the last one. Fletcher, electronics is up to recently. My main source of shipping was letter mail. I got an unusual amount of INR, item not received, in the last few months, only to find one of my customers complained to people on a Facebook group how he scammed me. Wow. And of course, with eBay, even if you provide them proof that you were getting scammed, there's nothing you can do about it, unfortunately. Wow. Shirley's with us. Thanks for being here. And Beard says, you will still be on live the first 25 comments when I start in an hour. Nope. Because you guys, you know what I do. You say it's skipping, but it's not. I am on top of it. I'm going through this. There's a lot of sidebar. I think you get that too in your chat. There's a lot of sidebar, and I've learned to try to navigate through it as much as possible.
I think most of the problems of the world are solved in the sidebar, and we just go right over the top of it. Never get.
Yeah, you never share it because you're behind. So Shirley says, I want to know what is considered a vintage or retro item. I sell many toys. How many years do an item have to be considered vintage or retro? 20 for vintage, right? I don't know anything about retro.
Well, retro is anything that is modeled after a vintage
Retro
item.
is more of a new thing that looks old. Well, I mean, sort of. I mean, yeah,
but it's really not old.
People use it for, use it pretty interchangeably, but retro generally is something that is newer, that looks like from a different time period.
So Major Win says, appreciate all of this, going on a date night with my wife. Thanks thanks Primo and Spam for letting us know about this. It's so great. Aloha, everybody. Keep rocking. Right on. Fight on.
Have a great night.
Major Win is awesome.
Paul Rose says, hi, John, Primo, Spam. Been watching, listening while packing, processing, so have missed the chat. 12:20 a.m. now.
Wow.
Australia.
Oh, Paul, get to bed.
Paul's in the UK, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
time for sleep.
Okay.
The
Well,
French
Paul-
are going to come get you.
Paul's getting those free final value fees, so it can't be that bad,
Oh,
right?
that's why he's just going crazy.
Sunny Las Vegas says, aloha. Thanks for being here.
Aloha,
Hello,
Sunny.
Sonny.
American Legends says, good evening. Thanks for being
Hi.
here. Just started selling after a decade post reselling, so getting back into it.
Wow, good for you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you.
We've got a lot of good chefs with us here, but we have Chef Esther. Tried free shipping on eBay. It didn't work.
We don't use it. We
Depends on
don't.
what you're selling. I'm not a fan of free shipping.
No, we don't.
Even some of the things that I tried to set, like those garage door remotes, they're 8 ounces, so it's not going to cost me a lot to ship. So I build that $4 or $5 into my price, and those aren't really doing all that great. So it's back to paid shipping and just adjust the price to where someone will buy it plus the cost of the label, and you're good. What do you think about free shipping?
We've tried it. Didn't work.
Nope.
It basically people will just pay the shipping. I mean, I think it's psychologically people want that price. Some people want it all to be, no one price. They want one price. But then some people look at the price of the object and just go, I have to pay for shipping anyway. As long as shipping isn't, we only do fixed shipping, never calculated, and the shipping is always at least seems low, right? So if it's a $20 item, it never goes above $5 shipping. If it's
Yeah, for books, every book we just say $5, and sometimes they'll say a little more, sometimes a little less, but it all sort of balances out for us.
that's
Yeah, I do the medium mail calculated. So what I do is I add $1 into the handling side of things. So if it's $4.95, they charge the buyer $5.95, that type of thing.
Yep.
Brick House Picker says, Whatnot has expanded to the UK. Maybe eBay is seeing that.
Oh, okay.
They've seen it expand. Well, eBay's seen the startup in the United States, and their response was, well, we'll come out with one of our own. But I mean, that's like a year and a half ago? They were talking about
they're
live.
still releasing it to select invite, people or whatever. I haven't seen it once.
How do you launch a product just on a limited basis and not launch it?
Well, if we're all resellers on the platform, and have any of us seen a single live sale? Like how come we can't even go buy stuff? Can we not go buy it?
I mean, is it that difficult to, emulate what Whatnot's doing? I guess it is apparently, or maybe Whatnot has a newer platform and they can't get that to work on eBay's older.
That's possible. They'd have to have a whole new app for it,
and it screws it all up probably. Says Larry Todd, thumbs up sale promise doesn't work without Jenna here.
Oh,
It's here. She's just in a different room.
She's pressing the button.
Yeah.
She's pressing the button.
Let's see. Brickhouse says first Bonanza sale today. I earned a badge. Love it. It automatically ends my eBay item. That's the thing about it. If you're doing any kind of cross listing, you're opening yourself up for problems if you don't have a way to delist the item when it's sold. So whatever reason, Bonanza's figured out a way to allow that to happen to where
it's
they
built
go
into Bonanza.
It's built into Bonanza.
Oh, no S. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So as soon as the item sells a Bonanza, it's gone off of eBay. It's in your ended items, and there's very few. TreeCat's one of them where you can go in, and also I think Vendu, where it'll delist the item from your eBay account once it sells. So that's the number one thing you should worry about with
I really need that. I just don't even know how to trust anything to do that.
Yeah, it's all baked into the program that's kind of overseeing it. So you allow that program to, even Bonanza, you allow it to, it's like an API, they call it.
Yeah.
Where it's connected at all times with eBay.
Is it instant though? Like within a minute, 30 seconds?
Within a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Maya says, I can never understand why us sellers don't cross list. There's so many options here. How can you not take advantage of it? I agree.
Well,
But
eBay is like got those, basic colored letters. I just love eBay. I've just been scared of cross listings. I mean, it's really a big deal for us to cross.
Scary until you do it, and then you do it, and you're like, "Wow, why didn't I do this sooner?"
I got paid. Thank you. That's all I need.
Fletcher says most of the other marketplaces don't seem to cater to used or new old stock electrical components. Any suggestions? You would know about that.
Well, no, I bought out a Radio Shack. I have a Radio Shack. If you need parts, no, there's really no place. Fry's is gone. I mean, if you're talking true electrical components, it's Amazon. It's the only place to find them anymore. Some cities like Manchester, New Hampshire, different places have like some weird stuff, warehouse type places. They used to have that in California where you could buy all kinds of electrical components, parts, pieces. But now they're all gone from as far as I know.
Paul Rose says, I have missed talking to my friends in the chat tonight with just listening / watching 2 of my favorite channels together, and I had to miss half.
Oh, Paul.
You're here now.
Thanks, Paul.
That is very nice.
Very nice.
Beard says, sidebar is censorship, John. Well, no, I've been reading your comments the whole way. I think Bearded Picker actually has said more in the chat than we've actually said to each other here. So it's hard to read all that. Patricia says Etsy shops that do well are oriented to a niche.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see. Paul Rose, very rare. I do free shipping. Only want a few things to be competitive. Most of the time, it's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's all about competition, really. Anything that you do. If you notice that you're not selling an item, you're charging shipping, and everyone else that sells it has free shipping, maybe you want to go in and bump up the price of your item to match, to allow maybe free shipping for that item, right? I've done that before with a couple items that weren't selling, but generally I try not to offer free shipping if I can help it.
Yeah.
We have Kevin, Commonwealth Pickers, says Bonanza for the win. Well, thanks for being here, Kevin.
Aloha, Kevin.
Nice to see you.
Bonanza. We're gonna try Bonanza. It actually delists, so you can list all your eBay stuff on Bonanza, and it will.
Yes, and it takes literally like 10 minutes to set it up. I'm not exaggerating. It's like a 10-minute thing to set up.
And you do all of your items or just some of them?
No, all of them.
Really?
Okay. And what's cool is Bonanza. I like the interface, but when you first go into your seller hub equivalent, it'll show you a Google report. These 2 items did not qualify to be pushed over to Google, and it'll click on it. It'll tell you what's going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, to me, it's just, if you sell on eBay, it makes no sense not to do Bonanza. Now, here's the caveat to Bonanza. There's been a couple times I didn't even know I had a sale because there's no app with Bonanza. Like usually I get a sell on eBay, here's a sale. I'll notice it on PayPal because the payments go through PayPal. So I'll see a payment on PayPal and go, where the hell did this money come from? Oh, crap, I sold an item yesterday. So, yeah, get in the habit of checking it. But like I checked it today, no sales on Bonanza. So it works great, I'm telling you. And now it doesn't work as frequently as we'd like. We'd like to get more action from Bonanza. But 1 sale every month is kind of what we're seeing. But that's 12 sales a year you wouldn't have.
I'm all into that. Yeah.
Might have it, but it just gives more people an option to see your items. And I hit the like button, and I got a cancellation request.
Stop.
Yeah. So I'll have to deal with that. Afterwards. Patricia says eBay is happening. Google it. There are sales listed for tonight. Okay, eBay Live is happening. So I just haven't seen it. And you think that eBay, if they're investing all this money in something like eBay Live, they'd really make a production of it, right? Hey, try eBay Live. Get your items up, right? Interesting.
You would think, yeah.
You're right. There's like a guy who's doing like package rips open packages. People like that for some reason.
With Tanner.
Look at all this Funko, Pokemon.
It looks sort of like a district
bunch
layout.
of nonsense.
Bearded Picker said sold 2 on Bonanza this week. Was shocked. Yeah, you're like, wow. And what I like about it is like it's full price. I mean, there's no markdown sale, no coupon.
What's the feedback system there? Is there one?
Yeah, there's one, but generally I've not had anyone complain at all. It's like,
Nice.
12 items, 12 for 12, no issues. Let's see. I really think that eBay has set themselves up through their policies to be really almost wanting returns. I mean, you don't see returns on the scale that eBay has on Mercari, Poshmark. They're discouraging returns. 3 days to inspect the item on Mercari. They have a no returns policy on Poshmark. Now, someone can open a case if they get something that's different, and then they have someone that reviews it before they say, okay, seller, send them a label. So it's really seller friendly, those other sites. I wish eBay would do. I mean, I think a lot of people would agree. eBay needs to do a lot more to be, I believe, along those lines more so than in our.
I agree.
I mean, the buyers are already leaving the platform, changing to a sort of a standard, I like to call it, where like Mercari, you get 3 days. Sorry, you don't need 30 days to figure out if this is what you bought. I mean, because
eBay puts a 30-day return on everything.
Yes.
It seems like there's a different, like clothing should be one thing, some items should be a different thing, but it's like they blanket everything.
Right. So what we're doing is beyond 3 days, that should be plenty enough time for someone to see what they got from us is what they actually wanted. I think anything beyond that becomes a warranty, and eBay is forcing us to warranty our own items.
I get very few returns. We don't get a lot of returns, so I can't complain. The ones that we do get, the few that we do get have been something that I did. Maybe we very rarely get them, but I flipped 45s to the wrong people once, and I had to work to get that sorted out. And then I sent a circuit board, the wrong one, and I just refunded them, just immediately done. Next.
Yeah, it happens though. Mistakes happen. We're not perfect, but at least there's steps in place on those other sites. So when we screw up, buyers usually notice right away when we make mistakes. They don't wait.
They want to see the item. They're like, I just bought this. I better look at it.
Yeah, they don't wait 30 days and say, oh, you sent me the wrong color shirt. Usually you get that message right away once they open the package.
Although I will tell you, the few clothing items that we sold one pair of Patagonia shorts like 3 times. They just kept coming back. We don't sell any clothing, and we had one pair of shorts, and it finally went to Europe, and we were like, yay, because even if they did do a return, eBay would cover it. So we're very psyched.
Bama Jaybird Resell does not use Bonanza, but maybe you should. So I think you should. And I only have one store linked. That's my main store, right? It's not the secondary store.
What's the final value fee on Bonanza?
I think it's 9%.
9? Right? So there's really no reason not to do that. They do everything for you.
It's not. It's really and the fact that you can get that Google report like on your main screen. Oh, these 2 items failed. Google being pushed to Google because of these reasons, and go into eBay and fix them.
The only thing wrong with it is there's no sales.
Beard says, no way you caught up. I want my money back. Paul Rose says, Sleep Primo. I think I heard something about that. I'm an eBay seller. There's no off button.
Well, that's good. I mean, you should be just cranking.
Yeah. And Nick says, because
you have a body like J-Lo too. Hope you're working out like J-Lo.
Nick says, because eBay is a far better app. There's many more buyers currently, and if it worked how it should and also advertised, kept new buyers coming, we shouldn't have to cross list, but we do. But I mean, this is part of adjusting. When things aren't working well with eBay, if you continue to do the same thing, hoping that eBay is going to fix your problem and not being proactive to look for ways to fix your problem, you're going to be kind of scratching your head going, I mean, I'm not selling anything now, while others are selling on other platforms.
We did have somebody in our chat, Ladybug, who mentioned that she got a survey from eBay asking her if she plans on cross-listing. Is her eBay full-time, part-time? Is she a company or an individual? They're asking all of these, fishy
They're doing questions. A lot of outreach right now. I mean, it's to back up their corporate plan. I mean, I don't think they're looking for our opinion on anything. Right. But they are doing a lot of research about their future. So, I mean,
but when they get the answer and it doesn't align with their plan, what are they going to do?
They literally Okay, so this is another thing that came up somewhere in the chat or something about people taking surveys on eBay and how you get they ask you a question and you go very impressed or not impressed, whatever I can't remember what they say, 1 through 10. So if you're 10,
5 stars.
that means you totally agree, and if you do a 1, you definitely don't agree. And they say they start answering questions, and then they get to how's the phone support, and they press a 1, and it kicks them out of the survey. It just ends the survey if you select a 1. And
Wow.
I was telling Spam here that I believe personally that the survey companies that they get a lot of their data for the SEC and financial filings and everything from these surveys. They actually are trying to find real information, and they don't want to have negatives. So they literally just drop that survey. So that's how they got 80 people to say that promoted listings are great. That's because remember how they took that survey and it said that 80% of people said promoted listings. There's no way 80%. There's no way 80%.
No.
So I think they just sort of dropped all the people that pressed 1 on that and just kept all the good ones. Not guessing.
So why do they even bother then? If they're not looking for actual data that to back up what their customers are feeling, why do they even bother?
Well, my big thing is it's for investors. It's all for investors. So eBay's in that part of their life cycle where they're just trying to get and feed investors.
So why have a survey? Why not just make the numbers up?
Because I think that they do have a fiduciary. They do have some sort of legal requirements to do things through certain set practices. But can they manipulate those practices to show what they want, to skew the way they want? Companies do that all the time, I'm sure. So what's eBay doing now for that? I'm not really a doom and gloomer. I just think there is a reality to this, and the fact that they are trying to they do seem to be focused on the shareholder now more than the users. That seems pretty. I feel like that's kind of obvious. But
I think they've been doing that for a long
time. I think so. Yeah. So, and especially this last year is when it really came just obvious to everybody, and where we had to now go buy massagers and cameras to make our living. So.
Ashley says Bonanza is pretty much effortless. I've only had one time where I double sold on Bonanza and eBay the same person, same time.
Oh, what?
Why would they be buying the same platforms? That doesn't make sense. But
then I would just send the eBay one, right, and just not send the Bonanza one.
You cancel the Bonanza one because it's less punitive to cancel. I've noticed that eBay is more punitive against the seller when you cancel. You get a defect. Mercari, not so much. Poshmark, not so much. It's really? eBay. I mean, if you just compare eBay to these other sites, they need to tone it down against the seller a little bit. I know, again, they're trying to maintain their buyer base, but come on.
Well, they're 30 years old compared to these 5-year-old companies. I mean, that seems to be the difference.
Yeah.
Let's see. Beard says PayPal imports to pirate ship. You won't miss a Bonanza sale. Yeah, I agree. It's just a good site. I think that if there's any site that really had the potential to be people kept asking me, a couple years ago, when's the next site coming that's going to overtake eBay and replace eBay? I mean, if anything, Bonanza they could figure a way to get, maybe find a way to pay for that Super Bowl spot. Get themselves out there. That
Kanye did it. Kanye had one.
But who am I? I'm just a guy who sells on eBay. I guess.
I think they need an app to get people more interested.
That would be a good thing because more people than ever are shopping on their app and they're not on their computer. Why they haven't is beyond me. Let's see. Brickhouse says, honestly, Bonanza is making moves. If you read their announcements, good job over there, Kevin.
Nice.
Okay, check it out. We got Tammy Weber says 2 returns this week. Reason changed their mind. Kind of discouraging. Yeah, it sucks. Change their mind, but I'd much rather have that than discover you have an INAD. Right now, it's like, okay, it's a buyer trying to get one over on me. Like I have an INAD. I have an INAD on a bigger item that came back. It's a dehumidifier. saying it didn't work for them. But I'm like, okay, it works fine here, but it's not humid in Vegas, so I can't really test the darn thing. American Legend says, supper's ready for me, a home cooked meal. Yeah, I definitely need a wife in the future.
Oh,
Your dehumidifier just shoots out sand in Vegas. Just shoots out dust.
Yeah, it just runs, but it sets it as such a low setting that it doesn't really do anything. Maya says, I'm probably the only eBay buyer who waits over a week to open my packages, but I will never open a return, so I guess it doesn't matter. Operation Liquidation says, good evening, folks. eBay sales are booming. Keep listing high demand items. Yes.
No, I will not do that.
I'm a firm believer. High ASP, high sell through rate for the win. I think.
Yeah.
I think technically it's a good mix. Somewhere it's a good mix of them. So you have these low sell through rate items that are always, a couple of them are just trickling in, and then you have the high ones that you really focus on. But if you have a nice base of slow ones, they'll just pepper in and keep raising your income.
But you kind of do the same thing I do. Put your B stock items in your secondary store. And I would think that B stock would mean more like lower ASP maybe, but definitely lower sell through.
Yeah.
Lower price.
And that comes from maybe the item is a high sell through rate item, but its quality is lower, so therefore it becomes a slower sell through rate. Item.
Maya says, even timing how long we take to respond to questions. I shouldn't feel pressured to respond to abusive buyers. And I skipped her comment. Sorry. Maya says, John, I really wish they would be more lenient when it's clear it's a crazy buyer. Like if you got a buyer sending rude, hateful comments, I shouldn't have to ship anything to them, even timing how long we take to respond. Okay. So I agree. But I really do believe, and I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but there's been some debate from people. We know that Mercari, they have a badge if you reply in a timely manner to your buyers. We know that Amazon has that built in. Poshmark wants you to respond in a timely manner to your buyers. eBay hasn't come out and said anything, but wouldn't you think it's kind of obviously, if you are not responding to your buyers in a timely manner, that maybe somehow that hurts your account health?
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I mean, have we heard that through some sort of eBay forum?
Through
or
the
something?
Jet Fixer Chronicles, I think it was Jet Fixer who had, over the years been doing some testing on eBay, has constantly been doing testing. And he sort of had this like crazy list of 17 items. Well, a list of 17 crazy-ish of things you can do to your eBay account, which aren't necessarily crazy. One of them is answering your stuff immediately.
Yes.
And then one of them was like looking at items and putting some high-priced items in your watch list, like you're buying stuff, like do buying activity,
like some really bizarre suggestions.
Yeah, but for sure, why wouldn't customer service? This is what our job is, customer service. The product is what we're
putting the algorithm aside. Buyers really do appreciate it when you get back to them in a timely manner. They even say it. Yes. Hey, thanks for your quick response.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. In the feedback, I look for that. I want people to say fast shipping, good communication, all those things.
Yeah. Let's see. Josh Blackwell says, if your listing is the cheapest price, it should show up first. Not necessarily, but only if they sort it by lowest plus shipping, should that happen. Even though price is considered in the algorithm when they're figuring out who gets shown first. Maya says, exactly, and especially if the buyer came over from another platform, eBay can't see how rude they were on Posh or Mercari, but I still don't want to sell to them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Not Funny says, how many times do you have to respond? If they say thanks, should you respond? No, it's the first initial message is what I believe that they're measuring. Because
that's what the thumbs up for is. So if you have to do a final response, you just thumbs up it.
Oh, if you're using the app to reply?
Sorry, yes, if you
right.
Maya goes on to say, I don't really care about the badge, but what I do care is they take you in the search algorithm. If that happens, then I feel I'm being punished for not wanting to deal with crazy people. But, give them a generic response. Sorry you're not happy. And then after that first initial reply, then do what you want, because I really don't think it's every message. I think it's that first one. So I think that is pretty much we're at the end of everything.
Yay!
And I just want to thank you
made it.
guys. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
of course, it was awesome. Love
Yeah.
visiting with you.
We made it here under 2 hours, right?
Got through the comments.
For those of you, though, who aren't familiar with Primo's channel, he does live streams throughout the week, like Monday through Friday, I believe.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Do you do any videos other than live?
We haven't. We've literally been setting up our house so that we can do some videos, because we would like to do those, and so there'll be some coming out soon.
Okay, awesome. So go over there and hit the subscribe on their channel. Give them some love. We'd appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Why don't you guys just, if there's anything you want to say, go ahead and say it before we go.
This camera. We're on hot ones. These wings were too hot. No, thank you very much for having us on. We just really enjoy this community. I mean, we kind of borrow from your community. I don't know if we co-opted your community, but people go to all of our lives and share. And I really, really love this community, and I'm glad to be part of it. And I'm glad that you're in it. And I'm glad that we're able to discuss things and provide some sort of, in some cases we provide a roadmap, and in some cases we get told that we're doing it wrong. But whatever, we're kind of all learning and figuring it out together, and I enjoy that. So thank you for being part of it.
And for Patricia, that's what he said, or
Patricia doesn't like my "that's what she said" jokes, which I do all the time.
Well, guys, again, thank you for being here, and hit the like button on the way out to get your sale within the next 24 hours. And I know the topic of the day was just eBay is improving the authenticity process. Many people don't care. It doesn't affect you, but you know what? It's few and far between when eBay does some great stuff. And I think that's a step in the right direction. So
almost magical.
Yeah, kudos out to you. But it's just yet another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend. And we will talk to you again on Monday's Live. Take care.
Thank you, John. Hi, Jenna.
Aloha,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.